Hello everyone, welcome to the new episode of Professionals Unplugged. I am your host Utkarsh Shukla and today we have Dr. Mandy with us. Dr. Mandy, thank you so much for joining in.
Thank you so much, Utkarsh, for having me here today. I'm very, very excited. And you just told me it's 100 sessions apart, so I'm even more excited. It's like an anniversary.
Right, thank you so much. And to our new audience, I just want to all of you to know like Dr. Mandy is joining us for second time. First time she was here, it was 12th episode, and today we are having 112th. So it's like 100 episodes between the transition. So thank you so much for your support, Dr. Mandy. It's really an honor for me to interview you again.
Thank you for having me here again. I'm very excited.
So today we are going to talk about the new thing that you have been doing for last 2 years around, and it's basically around nature, reflection, and leadership, like how nature-based coaching helps leader reconnect with themselves, shift their perspective, and lead them with more clarity and presence. Right. So can you just tell us a brief about this concept?
Yes. So last time we spoke, I explained to you all my journey from being a chemist, being an engineer, into leadership positions, and all the explorative journey. Um, and I have been, since then, I have been working with quite some corporates on traditional leadership training. And I realized, actually, but at the beginning of this year, it was very, very clear to me because I just moved to the Canary Islands. As you know, I'm not in Dubai anymore. There was a big, big shift. And I realized how big that shift is for me internally. I have been also spending quite some time in the Chilean desert in the past, and it was just the same effect. So I understood that I want to bring more of nature, more of this connectedness into my work. And I'm just about to launch my new project, which is the name is Fuerte Perspective. So the island I'm living on is Fuerteventura, and Fuerte means strong in Spanish, and of course it's connected to the island. And perspectives, I think I don't have to explain that. So I'm very excited to launch this together with you somehow as well.
That's really amazing. Like you have worked across industries, continents, cultures, right? So you have seen a lot of things, correct? And integrating nature into leadership development is something I'm hearing for first time, right? And we all hear this thing like nature is all around us. We should try to indulge more and more to it, right? So what was your inspiration that around this shift, and what does it bring that traditional leadership training? Like how are both of them like reciprocating each other?
Yes. So as I mentioned already, I am in nature now and am very connected to it. So that was definitely contributing big part. But it really started at the beginning of this year when I was clear about what I really want to change. When I was having an interview for a project with a big, huge enterprise, and I ended up not getting that project. And of course, you do reflect on what happened, what could you have done differently. And I was reflecting on their feedback. And the feedback was that the other facilitator they interviewed had better answers to their questions. So I thought, okay, what were the questions and what could I have answered? And I realized that I wasn't even disappointed not getting that project. I was feeling even relieved because in this interview, I saw already how the content they wanted me to deliver did not really match their values. And I also realized that their values did not match my values. So I understood that just delivering traditional leadership frameworks to companies who are just checking boxes is not enough for me. That's not what I actually want. I want leaders to wanting and companies to wanting to change something, to wanting to make an impact, and bringing and changing from within. And I was working with about 200 leaders now, meanwhile, and I realized that the ones who really made the biggest shift were the ones who were able to connect with themselves. They were the ones who are brave enough to truly see themselves and making that change inside before they try to make any other change. And nature helps you very much with this. So nature is very powerful. It helps you to slow down. It forces you to slow down. It forces you somehow to disconnect from all the stress, all the distractions outside, and that alone already helps you to connect deeper with your inner self. So knowing and having seen leaders and having been seeing myself making that change by connecting deeply inside, help with the help of nature was actually the main inspiration for me to make that shift and work now more integrated with nature. So here, for example, I'm starting on this island to have nature walks, coaching walks. I'm developing some nature retreats as well. They will be deeply into leadership, deeply into I will be using frameworks as well, but it is really more connected with deep inner work, deep inner reflection, because I believe that's how you change, and that's the only way you really can grow.
Right. I think these are very fair point that you have mentioned. It's pretty important for leaders to be evolved with the latest trends and to know like how can they be helped by natures, right? So, and there is also one thing that happens in a day-to-day life, even with us and with leaders as well. Like sometimes they struggle to change, right? And change is something that can't be done easily, right? So, what's your thought on it? Like, why do leaders struggles to step back and think on themselves, and if they do, then what shifts and when they do, like a complete
Yeah,
scenario same.
yeah. So I think they struggle because of fear. A big time is fear and biases as well. Many leaders are so focused on control. They're constantly in the problem solving mode, and they confuse busyness, keeping themselves busy all the time. They confuse that with effectiveness, which is actually not true. And many leaders also are afraid of letting go, afraid of something new. Change can be very scary, but
Mhm.
when you actually are able to step back, you are able to see more because you're zooming out. You see more. You're getting a grip of that bigger picture on and of the systemic nature of problems, because usually we're very tuned in, we're very zoomed in, and the problems has a systemic nature. So zooming out and seeing that big picture helps a lot with this. And then some leaders over time also learn to suppress their emotions because they think that's more professional. They think emotions don't have a space in the workplace. We were talking last time about this big time. And they don't realize when they suppress their emotions, they also suppress the ability to connect with themselves. And when you're not connected to yourself, you cannot really connect to others. You lose the ability to inspire. You lose the ability to really lead with presence. And leadership presence is a big topic nowadays as well. And then I think the last thing, not the last, but one of the big things why they're scared or not wanting to make that step and step back is ego. Because when you slow down, it means it forces you to see things that you have been avoiding so far. It forces you to see some of your uncertainties, to see your doubts and insecurities, and maybe even realizing some of the mistakes, some things where you have not been leading effectively. So seeing who you truly, truly are can be scary, and it actually needs a lot of bravery to go there because inner work can be very uncomfortable. But again, that's the only way how you grow. And once leaders and managers realize and manage to pause and manage to truly connect from all the distractions and reconnect with themselves, who they truly are, with the bigger picture, that's when they start to build trust. That's when they start to make better decisions and shift actually from the control to connection and influence.
Correct. And talking about connection with nature, like there are elements of nature as well. So are you using those elements as well in your framework? And if yes, then how?
Yes, I actually use, I know it sounds for some people maybe a bit spiritual, but it's actually not. I'm using these elements. So I'm using earth, air, fire, and water um, symbolically and as a practical and reflective tool to help leaders to understand their natural strength and also seeing their blind spot. So, for example, earth represents stability and endurance. Leaders that have a lot of earth energy are very strong in bringing presence, grounded presence to the team, bringing structure and security. And if someone needs more grounding, someone that might be overwhelmed, someone that might struggle with consistency. We could use the earth energy and go, for example, for a walk. We might go to the beach or to a grassy field, somewhere where we can take our shoes off and ground with our feet into the earth and feel with a lot of presence, with a lot of awareness and slowing down what pausing and taking out that speed of life actually can help, how it can ground ourselves, and how grounding ourselves before acting actually influences the way we interact, influences the impact that we're having. So that's earth. Then there's water that represents flow and emotions and also adaptability. So leaders that bring a lot of water energy, they connect more with people. They focus on relationships. They create space, but they're also able to manage or navigate uncertainties. And people that are maybe a little bit more rigid or struggle to connect, we might want to go by a water body, a flowing, moving water body, like the ocean, like a river, and trying to connect with that rhythm of the water and seeing what this flow can change in our own challenges, how we see our own challenges differently. And then fire, as you can imagine, fire is energy, it's driven. Some people and many leaders have a lot of fire. They have ambition, they're very bold in decision making, but they also can push very, very hard. And fire can burn too hot, it can burn out. So leaders who have too much fire energy, they might lose people because they lose their patience with them and then they lose the people as well. However, there's other leaders that might need more fire, that are stuck, um, or struggle to make decisions, struggle to take actions. And with them, I could use some breathing exercises. There's fire breathing, it's called, where you breathe very, very fast, controlled, of course, and that warms you up, that warms up your body, some movements that warm up your body. And while you're in this state, in this energetic state, I would try to anchor their goals and commit to an action with them while they're in the state so that they remember this fire energy when they're thinking about their task. That would be one way to use fire. And then last but not least, by far not least, is air, which represents vision and perspective. So leaders that have a lot of air energy bring vision, the big picture, they're innovative, and they inspire other people with their ideas. And people who get stuck in details, very analytical people, for example, or that lack creativity, could benefit from air. So we might want to go to a big field, to the shore, seeing across the ocean, or to a hilltop, and broaden that vision. So I would ask them to physically open that vision, because when you open, they're very narrow visioned and narrow minded when they are stuck. When you open your vision physically by seeing so much, you also open your mind. You open up for creativity. So this is how I'm using these elements, again, very symbolically and in combination with being outside and able to disconnect from everything else to connect with yourself. Leaders just don't talk about the changes that they want to make. They really, really feel it. They feel it physically, emotionally, and mentally. And I think this is how change really sticks and how you really would take action.
I think these are some really great examples that you have mentioned, and anyone can easily relate themselves to one of these four elements that we have talked about here, right? And the examples that you have given are really very, very what I can say, easy to imagine oneself in one of these elements and then feel those things going through. So, can you just share one real life example with us where a leader has a breakthrough through the nature process? If you can share with us, that would be great.
Yes, absolutely. One of my favorites. I had, again, I mentioned fire, right? I had a leader who was on fire, who was driving and very, very ambitious. And he actually had very high potential to get into the next level of being in an executive position. But with his impatience, he was losing people. So that was a difficulty. And also, he got some complaints at HR.
Was
So
it the
we need,
fire one?
it was fire, yes. So we worked on all the energies actually. First of all, we needed to start understanding that fire, understanding the need of the fire, but also understanding how it can burn bridges, how it ruins this relationship, and um, yeah, hurts people. Fire is hot and it can hurt. So that was not his intention, and he realized and opened his eyes that I don't want to hurt people. I really want to change this without changing who I really am. So the first element that we then started working on was grounding, was earth energy, because fire, if you're on fire all the time, what you need is a little bit more slowing down and grounding. So he was able with that to pause and slow down in meetings, to not immediately blurb out his reactions and his opinions, and let people talk. That was difficult for him because his fire energy was there all the time, and we found ways how we can use it differently afterwards by physical exercise after a meeting, for example. So when he has time, when it's possible, and he needed to hold and he needed to ground, then afterwards he can go out for a walk, for a fast walk, something like this. And grounding helped a lot. It made a big, big step, but it still felt uncomfortable. So we needed to work on all the emotions that he was feeling while he was in this meeting and in these situations and needing to pause. So that's water energy. We worked a lot with understanding the triggers, understanding the needs, and also accepting that they're there and letting go of some urgencies or urges that he felt. So that was with the water. And the air energy in the end helped him to see and understand different perspectives. So by going out and opening, feeling that open space, he realized that he could fill this space with a lot of different ideas that were different from his different perspectives, and he was able to accept that. Again, you don't have to agree with everything, but you have to accept it's there. You have to see how you impact with your fire energy others. And by opening up, physically opening up his vision, and then also emotionally opening this up, he was able to accept that. So in the end, he was able to fine tune or tune better into the other energies, fine tune his own a natural energy, and yeah, without losing his essence, but managing relationships better. And in the end, he was up for this next position, so he didn't get any complaints anymore, and that was like the best thing he ever told me when we were working together. At the end, that was a big, big change and one of my favorite stories.
That's really great to hear. And I think it's completely summarized how you have used other elements in order to neutralize the one that was going up, right? So all these things that you have said is completely making sense, and how they are being useful in order to get the main leaders in their main characters, right? And if I ask you, like, if someone who's watching this as a leader and feeling discomfort and they want to start their own, like, so what are the steps that you will suggest them?
Yeah. So first of all, to start, and you might not yet have the opportunity to implement all this, or not. You want to know how to start in the first place. Mindfulness is always a good idea. So mindfulness means take all your senses, and intentionally become aware of every single detail around you. um, that helps you to shift into the present, to deconnect or disconnect from all the worries or all the angriness about the past, maybe, or the shame that you might feel about some things that happened. It helps you to disconnect from worries about the future and really feel the presence, and that is when you are able to see yourself, when you start to seeing yourself in the present. And if you have a pet, observe that pet, because they are masters in this. They know exactly, they don't even know the past and the future, right? They live in the moment, and try to feel that joy with them. And maybe you can see some of the energies also in that pet if you can. So that's the first one. And of course, the second one, go out in nature as much as you can. Try to do that. If you live in a big city, that might not always be possible. You might not always find the best nature places, but even there, you might find parks, Even if you cannot take off your shoes, maybe buy barefoot shoes. I actually bought barefoot shoes when I was living in Dubai, and I wear them every day because it's you're more grounded. You can feel the floor. That helps you. If you are in nature, try not to distract yourself with your phones, with music, with anything else. Really try to listen to the thoughts that are coming up. That can be difficult, and we might start to overthink, but try to practice to let them come and observe them only. Don't judge, just label, here's a thought, this is what's coming. And you will be surprised how this can open up your mind with time. So it's a little bit of practice. And of course, we always want to think about this thought. We always want to do something about it right now. So walking, grounding, and then listening to thoughts can help to slow down and open up your vision, your mind, and your creativity as well. And another thing you can do is breathing. I mentioned breathe before. You can play a little bit with the speed of your breath, with where you breathe in, if it's your chest or your belly. You can experiment how it slows you down when you breathe very slowly. When you're excited and you need to calm, you can do this with very deep and slow breath. If you need more energy, you can do this with breathing fast and breathing a lot and maybe moving around. So that's something you can do anytime. And last but not least is journaling. Journaling is really, really magic. It actually helps you to connect with any element you want and you need, because when you write, you are in the flow. So flow, water, emotions. Um, it also activates you and motivates you, because when you see your thoughts, you might have new ideas and you get activated and say, yes, I want to do that. It also helps you to find different perspectives, because when all this clutter is out of your mind on the paper, you can see it and you can see it from different angles. And at the same time, decluttering your mind means being more grounded. So journaling is, I recommend that to everyone. Yeah, so that's four strategies that I can suggest to people that just want to start finding a little bit of clarity.
Yes, I think these all are very important information that you has told us. Right. I was also able to imagine at the same time when you were telling me like how I can use them in my life. So it all make complete sense. And why is it important to use nature in terms of leadership? Not only just leadership, but I can see in our day-to-day life as well. Like the things that you have mentioned, these are really very informative. If even if you are a leader or an employee or someone who is struggling in their lives, these things are really important and really makes sense if you want to have a very calm life and
Yeah, it's
and
very, very
enjoy
useful.
the
So
life.
did you identify for yourself from the things I mentioned?
I think one was the breathing one that you, when you were telling, I was also noticing like whether it's through here or deep down, I should breathe in order to be more calmer. And other thing about the four elements, so I was trying to imagine myself in one of those fours in which I generally lie, and how how I can improve, neutralize it with the other elements as well. So I hope it will help other people as well. So if someone who as a leader wants to have this thing implemented in their life, how can they reach out to you?
Well, they can reach out. Probably you have in the link somewhere or in the comments somewhere some links about me. They can reach out on LinkedIn.
Sure.
They can reach out on Instagram. And in both, I have my phone number as well. So if they just want to call me, I might not be available immediately, but I will definitely answer.
Sure.
And yeah, just write me a message somewhere.
So we will add your link to your LinkedIn, Instagram, and the Gmail or email as well, right on the video description. So anyone who is interested, I hope many people will be after hearing this. So we will add your links in the description, and anyone who's interested can reach out to you. So thank you so much, Dr. Mandy.
Perfect.
It
I
was
look forward. Thank you so much to you, Utkarsh. It was a pleasure again to be here. I enjoyed it very, very much.
thank you so much.